Welcome to Faith in Action. Welcome to another conversation with myself, Robbie Frawley, and my guest, Sean Teis. How are you, Sean?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you are very, very welcome. Now, before we get into the whys and wherefores of us having a conversation, I noticed there is a helmet on a shelf behind you.
That's my team right there.
The Pittsburgh Steelers. Uh,
Yeah.
they were here only last September here in Ireland, and our biggest stadium was sold out. It was an incredible
Wow.
game. We watched it on TV. I didn't understand a minute of it, but I watched it on TV. It
And
was
it's called
one.
football too. It's football, so it's a little different football
Yeah,
than you're probably
yeah.
used
We,
to.
we won't get into that one. We'll just leave that one to one side. We're not going to have that conversation. Uh, Mike, Mike, Sean, it is great to see you. I do apologize. I'm just, you and me have a mic in our head that's just,
Yeah.
we know he's listening somewhere, don't we?
Yes,
He's
exactly.
he's there somewhere.
Yes.
It was Mike Segovia who connected us, and I'm so glad he
Yeah.
did. Um, you've set up a really, really important organization, and you've written a book as well about this, but it's all about fatherlessness. Before we get into the details of the book, why did you go down this road?
Well, just you want me to share my story? Is that what
Yes,
you're
I'd
looking
love to
for?
hear your
Yeah.
story. Yeah.
Well, I when I was about 9 months old, my father came home in a drunken rage, and he threw my mother and my brother and my sister out of our home. But he kept me for some reason, a little 9 month old baby. And so my mom got nervous. There was a past history of abuse. And so she went over to the neighbor's house, got the cops to show up. Cops showed up and they demanded that my dad hand me over to them. And instead of gently handing me over, he took me and threw me across the room to the cops. And
Wow.
thankfully, that cop could catch. That cop caught me that day, and God protected me through that. But my dad got on a bus in our small town in Pennsylvania soon after that and went back to his hometown of Las Vegas, Nevada, and never came back. And so I started what I call around 10 months old, what I call the fatherless journey. And so I grew up without a dad, and I was blessed though to have a grandfather that mentored me. I was blessed to have other mentors and different people in my church, and that encouraged me. And even up till like last year, I had a mentor for about 25 years that was like my dad. There was no blood relation, no marriage relation, just a guy that cared about me. And
Hmm.
so I was so blessed to have those people that I even went to Bible college to be a pastor. That's one of the reasons why I went to be a pastor. And soon after Bible college in 2008, I wrote a book for fatherless guys. And I thought, I want to write a book to encourage guys. And it became a book. It was a 30-day journey just to help them out. And I thought I was just going to write a book and go be a pastor. And it ended up turning into a whole ministry. And so we wrote a book for fatherless girls then, single moms, children, started speaking about it around the country. And here we are today. And so over almost 18 years later. So
That for you as a child, of course, 9 months, 10 months old. I'm not going to say you don't remember anything because you obviously do remember parts of it, but how did you get over the rejection of that? Or do you ever get over it?
well, I mean, my mentors definitely helped me with that, the rejection part. Honestly, he lived so far away that I forgot he even existed for a long
Mm,
time. But then it would flare up, and that's why we do a big promotion around Father's Day, because a lot of kids are reminded around Father's Day what they don't have or what
right.
happened. Um, and so I think Father's Day was always a reminder of that. Different times where kids would talk about things they did with their dad, like hunting, working on their car with their dad, or different things that guys did that they're like, hey, I did this with my dad over the weekend, or being at their sports games and stuff like that. That's when it would flare up, or when I had questions, things that
Mm.
I wish I would had a man to talk to. But thankfully, those mentors stepped in and were able to help me with a lot of that. And so, honestly, the feeling of rejection, yeah, I mean, it really did hurt. It really hurt when I was about 15 years old. I went out to Vegas for the first time, and I met my dad, and I was so excited. I was nervous. I had all these weird feelings and emotions, and I wasn't sure how it was going to go. And then I met my dad for the first time. My dad was very heavily involved in the adult film industry in Vegas, and
Okay.
so he actually was in films. He was worked in an adult film theater, and the first time I met him was in an adult film shop in the ghetto of Las Vegas, which was a really weird place to meet your dad when you're 15 years old.
Yeah, yeah.
But my aunt took us down there to meet him because she knew where he worked and wanted us to be able to meet him. But I walked in there, I saw this guy. It was weird. It was an awkward thing. Obviously, the setting and everything was just weird. And then I asked him, I said, "Hey, come on over to your brother's house, my uncle's house, for supper, like tomorrow night or the next night." And I thought he would show up. And I remember waiting by the phone and being like, "Yeah, maybe he'll come." And he never showed up. And
Wow.
so that for me, that was a really a big time of rejection because I'm like, I flew the whole way across the country. I met you for the first time in 15 years, and you can't even drive across town to come see me. And so I went home and I went through this whole thing. I had to forgive him. I have this whole story about forgiveness, but that was a big time of rejection because I was right there. And so I honestly feel like it's really hard for kids, even worse than I had, when they have a dad that lives down the street or across the city, that they live nearby, and it's a constant reminder that that dad doesn't care. Thankfully for me, I'm just being honest. I'm thankful that my dad lived in Las Vegas, and I forgot he even existed. And
Right.
honestly, I feel like it was easier for me, and that's the way I processed it.
It was easier for you to get on with life, really, wasn't it? Without him being in the picture and then not, and then back again and then not. Easier for
Yes.
you to get on with it. And the expansion then, of course, into the other side of the coin as well, without, motherless people as well. So you've gone a full spectrum with the mission and ministry, haven't you?
Yeah, we have some resources for motherless. Some of them are just for both sides of it, loss or rejection of a parent. And we have a children's book for motherless children. But we focus mostly on the fatherless issue, helping kids that don't have dads. We're hopefully going to have things for single dads and motherless individuals, more of that in the future. But right now, we really focus on fatherlessness.
Now we've just had Father's Day here only a few weeks back. Um, and it is timely. It doesn't even have to be a day that commemorates or celebrates or just reminds us. Celebrates the wrong word, but reminds us that there are children out there, young and older, who are fatherless. But you've
Yes.
written a book, founder. Is there a book called God is My Dad, or is that just the foundation?
The book called God is My Dad is in the works. It's coming out very soon. It's
Okay.
going to be, maybe we'll come back on with you when that comes out. But
Yeah.
that's going to be a book that we're coming out with. But the original books, the books that we have now, we have the Fatherless Journey for guys,
Right.
the Fatherless Journey for girls, and then we have the Single Mom Journey. And those are the top 30 things you deal with in those situations. And so they're like devotional books. They help you work through things. We're actually working on republishing the Fatherless Journey for guys and girls. Hopefully that'll be done soon. And the Single Mom Journey. Hopefully it'll be done soon. But
So
they're
when were they
available.
first? When were they first published?
We first published them in 2008, and then
Wow.
well, the guys book is this is its third revision, or it'll be the third version of it. The girls book it'll be the second, and Single Mom book will be the second version. Then we have children's books too. We have a children's book for fatherless guys, fatherless girls, and then we have one for or motherless. I'm sorry, we have children's books for fatherless individuals, motherless children, and then
Mhm.
also orphan and like foster care situations. And so we covered all of it with two children's books.
So do you go round states in different parts of the country talking about this?
Oh yeah, I've been all over the United States. I mean, most states.
Yeah.
I've spoken to over 200 churches. I've traveled around the nation in an RV for a couple of years. My family lived
Wow.
in an RV, and we went from Florida to Arizona, California, Colorado. I mean, we've been everywhere. It feels like, and just trying to either spread awareness about the issue of fatherlessness. That's one of the main things we do because we go to churches and I'll preach a full message about helping hurting individuals, and I'll share a lot of statistics and stuff. And people will come up to me after and they'll say, "I didn't have any idea that this issue of fatherlessness is coming, or these issues are coming from fatherlessness." And so we help people understand that, and then we inspire the individuals that are going through it. We also inspire dads to get more involved with their kids' lives, showing them that you see a fatherless situation isn't just if the dad's not there physically. That's
Right.
one thing we found with our ministry. There's millions of kids that don't have a dad physically present, but then there's way more than that that have a dad in the house that is rejecting their kids daily, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. And so that's one of the things we also address as well when we speak in churches.
Do you know what, Sean? It's so important. It doesn't matter where you are in the world. This is such an important subject, and such an important mission and ministry that you're on that uh, I don't know where we can continue to go without bringing this to the attention of individuals and families and churches alike. What's the biggest thing that you find when you're talking with churches or individuals? What's that big, here we go again. What's the big issue?
The big issue for the church is oftentimes we overcomplicate the issue of fatherlessness, and what I mean by that is we overcomplicate the solution for it. We feel like we have to start this massive program,
Hmm.
and we don't have the resources for it. It's too hard, and so our ministry, we've tried to really simplify the process. We've given a free app that a mentor can. When I say mentor, it could be a person where you just know of a niece or a nephew that's growing up without a dad, and you just hang out with them maybe once a week, once every other week, once a month. Honestly, just something for that kid, and you can get on our app and watch a video and then talk about it. And so it doesn't cost anything. It just a little bit of time, but just making it very simple. And I think that with the churches, we have been like, well, if we can't start a big program, then we can't do anything. And that's a big misconception. It's a lie from the devil. I honestly believe that because, the devil does not want the fatherless kids to be reached. He has a grip on them. Statistics wise, we can see that. And so I think we have to be careful with that because the Bible does tell us clearly that it's a pure religious practice for all of us to visit the fatherless. It's the answer to the whole issue in with this entire thing in the United States and across the world. The issue of fatherlessness can be solved by James 127 in the middle of that verse. There's two words: to visit. And so if churches would get past the programming side of it, I'm not saying programs are bad. Programs are
I get
great.
you.
It's what you
Yeah.
want to. That's what you want to do. Do that. But if don't believe that you have to start a program in order to do something. So when I go to churches, I say, okay, who's in your circle of influence? What niece or nephew do you have? Is there a grandma raising the grandkids down the road from you? Is there a single mom that you work with? Start there and start ministering to them through just talking to them. If you go up to a fatherless kid in your church or a motherless kid or a kid that's in foster care and you say to them, hey, how's it going? How's school going?
Yeah.
What's your name? And you get to know their first name. And then each week you talk to them, say their first name to them. And then you say, hey, how'd that soccer game go? Or how did that how did your test go?
Yeah.
And you talk to them about their life and you remember the things that you prayed for them. That's going to change that kid's life because there's going to be that guy named Jim or Bob or whoever's in their church that's saying these things to them. They're gonna be like, this person cares about me. And so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be. And then maybe eventually it could turn into where and make sure it's a safe environment. Make sure that you're in a public place,
Of
you're
course.
meeting
Yeah.
with them in a public
Yeah.
place and you keep it safe. Maybe you and your wife or husband and wife do it together, but just make it safe for you and the child. Because sadly, there's a lot of things that go on nowadays. But spend time. Maybe you can start spending time with them. Going to a McDonald's or something and sitting down with them and saying, just working through a video. We have free devotionals that you can use. And again, it doesn't have to cost anything. And just letting that kid know you care about them, but then pointing them to God because you don't want it to be where they're getting attached to you as a person. It's okay to have a little bit of attachment, but direct them to God so that as
Mm.
you move on in life, as they move on in life, they can remember this person taught me about God as my father, and then they can go through life knowing, hey, God cares about me, and I'm thankful for this person that pointed me to Him, and now I'm going to do the same thing for others, and it's kind of a domino effect.
I will come to the book in a moment, and I know it's not released yet, but God is my dad, because pointing them to God is so important
Yeah,
because they've been rejected by a father figure before, and you want to get into a stage to show them that God is a God who loves them with an unconditional love. Before I go there, though, I've just been thinking about you in particular. We know why you would have set this up, but was there a point? Do you remember a point in your life where you went, "I'm going to do that for kids like me or for people who are like me"?
well, I wanted to write a book. I just had a burning desire to write a book, and so I'm like, I'm going to put my stories into a book. I don't know, honestly, I don't know why. I mean, it was probably 2006, maybe 2007, probably 2007. I thought, I need to write a book for guys. I just graduated from Bible college, and I was okay. What do I do now? I mean, after you graduate from college, you're a full time student. I was a full time employee, full time student, and I got rid of the full time student part of it. So I'm like, okay, now I need to do something. And I wasn't going into full time ministry yet, so I thought, I'm going to write a book. I was working corporate in Jacksonville, Florida, and I'm like, okay, let's write a book for guys that don't have a dad. And that's what I just felt this burning desire that I needed to
Mm.
do that. And then as I was doing it, I'm like, I need to start a ministry. And it just kind of, it was just the Holy Spirit, honestly, just leading me to, I'm going to find, actually, I went to my corporate job, and I remember being on a break, or maybe even during work. I probably shouldn't have, but I'm there, and I'm getting on a website like LegalZoom or bizfilings.com. I remember forming a nonprofit while I was at work that day. And then I had just gotten married right before that. And I went home and told my wife, hey, I formed a nonprofit today. And I realized, I learned that day, talk to your wife first before you make major life decisions. So it was all honestly just innocent. And
Yeah,
so, and she was very gracious about it. And she was like, hey, it's fine. It's okay. But next time, just talk to me. And so I was learning communication as well at that point. But, it was all God, because I honestly remember just have this desire, write a book, start a nonprofit,
right.
let's get this thing going. And now we're 18 years later, and we've honestly, through our resources, have reached people all over the world, and it's just exciting to see what God's doing, and we feel like we're just getting started.
Yeah, for something like you're dealing with, yeah, it is a sense of just getting started, and it's like
Yeah,
this is God, you have to take this and deal with it how you will, because we know that the problem is way, way, way bigger than we can ever handle. But
oh,
with
yeah.
God in the middle of it and God leading it, then it is so important to do so. Uh, did you find that getting everything going and starting everything was kind of therapy for you? Did it bring closure or bring some answers to you?
Yeah, I think writing the book definitely, because as I was writing the book, I was reading about writing a book while I was doing it. I was learning the process,
Okay.
and as I was writing the Fatherless Journey for Guys, a lot of the content that I put on paper initially, I couldn't use because it was a lot of me just healing. And I realized and that was one of the things I read, that a lot of times when you write a book, you'll put enough stuff down on paper that you won't even touch later. You won't use in the book because it's a lot of your own personal things that you just need to flush out. And so for me, it was like, okay, I'm putting this down on paper, but now, yeah, therapeutic, where I can take, regardless of what happened to me, I can go help other people.
Hmm.
And that was my desire to go in ministry. I wanted to be a full-time minister and reach people. And that was my ability to do that. I could, hey, let me help people through this issue. And so, yeah, it was definitely therapeutic.
I like the fact that you're very clear in terms of what churches can do, and it's really important to remind churches that it's not about a big program. It's just about recognizing that this is an issue and
Yeah.
there are resources to help that. And the practical ways as well, very important as well, that it's public places that you're going to mentor. If you're going to mentor anybody, don't do it on your own, because you don't know what these kids are going through, but also it's just a safe thing to do anyway.
Yeah.
Don't do any of that on your own. Um, but what about, is there a way that we can deal with the growing crisis of fatherlessness? I mean, we can't stop that. That's just, but is there something in your heart that goes, actually, we need to do more of this?
Yeah. I mean, I honestly go back to the visit part, that James 126. James 127 says, it's a pure religion and undefiled before God and the Father is this, to visit the fatherless and widows in their affliction, and to keep himself unspotted from the world. It
Mhm.
tells us it's for every Christian,
Mhm.
it's a pure religious practice. And so it's something that we should pay attention to, right?
Right?
And it's like, okay,
Yeah.
this is a pure religious practice. Maybe I need to be involved in this, to visit the fatherless and widows. Widows there, it's talking about a woman that's lost her husband due to death or abandonment. And so it's a very simple way to get involved in this. So either visit them. We also, through our ministry, we offer all kinds of curriculum for churches to start a single mom ministry. They're not complicated. All it is you find a room in your church, you find a woman in your church that can sit down with these ladies once a week during the school. We always do it during the school year. And once a week during the school year, on a night that you already have children's programming. So it could be a Sunday school hour, it could be on a Wednesday night if you have like an Awana program or something like that. And you just have it during the time where there's already children's programming. And you bring the women in, you play the videos that my wife and I have made. We've made over 2 years of curriculum.
Right.
And you just sit down with them and talk talk through the curriculum with them, watch the videos, they're full length, and just talk. It's really easy, honestly. And we're basically giving it away to churches, and so we just want to help churches start that. So I think that's like I said, we overcomplicate it. It doesn't have to be complicated. You literally have a room, a lady in your church, and she watches the videos with them and talks to them about it, has prayer time. And you should see the difference in the women's lives. My wife runs the one at our church. We have about 20 of them going around the United States right now. And we're trying to get them all over the United States and around the world. I mean, it's one of our goals. It's a new initiative for us. It's a new thing that we've launched. But honestly, I think that it's so easy to get involved in this, and I think one of the things too is we have all kinds of free resources. This doesn't cost you anything, and so
Right.
you literally can point a kid to God is my dad, point them to a God is my dad mobile app on the Apple or Google Play Store, and they can download the app and watch tons of videos. We have videos from John Cooper from Skillet. We have Stephen Kendrick from the Kendrick Brothers on there. We
Mhm.
have, I mean, just a variety of different guests and people that are on there that can that want to be, they want to help and encourage fatherless individuals and tell them, hey, you can overcome. We know what you're going through, and we giving different ways of hope, different options. So I want to encourage them use our resources. We're also on the YouVersion Bible app too. If you go to the Bible app,
Okay.
search for God is my dad, search for fatherless or single mom, you'll find free devotionals from us. And so we have like the first 10 days of our fatherless journey for guys on there, first 10 days of fatherless journey for girls. We have a Spanish version for the girls on there now. We have for single moms, we have a God is my dad A to Z devotional. You can sit down and walk through with a kid once a week. I mean, you're going through the whole alphabet, 26 letters, 26 weeks. So there's all kinds of ways to do this. And we're just trying to make it available because it's not complicated. A kid just wants to know you care about them and they want to know that you, and they might be rough at first. I've worked with multiple kids around the country. I've been a youth pastor. And when you work with a kid, you sit down with them. Sometimes they might reject you at first.
Yeah.
But then as you talk to them, they're gonna be like, this person cares about me. And if you have pure motives, they're gonna realize that
Mm.
and they're gonna open up. They're gonna open up a little more and a little more. And then they might close off and then open back up. And but you just work with them. And the difference you can make. And I think the problem could be solved if every Christian would do that and get involved. And that's why I said about our resources.
It's
If we get
it,
past it being complicated and do something.
yeah, it is so important for us to realize that actually this is not complicated.
Yeah.
It is what we're required to do. I think sometimes we try as Christians, we go, I want the big mission. I want and mission is caring for widows and orphans, caring for those who are lonely, caring for those who, through no fault of their own, are in a situation where they are fatherless. And it is, I can't stress how important this is worldwide, Sean. It really is. And I'm so pleased that we're talking about this.
Would you share with me some of the things you've seen in Ireland? I mean, if you don't mind me asking.
No, no, but ask away, no problem. The thing about, I suppose, Ireland is it's been a nation where that doesn't happen here. Of course it does.
Yeah.
And, it's, I remember in my own life how after my mum passed away when I was just young, my dad remarried, and it was a kind of a, a, a merged family, and
Mm,
we tried our best, but it's hard to be a parent to somebody else's children unless you know them. And
yeah.
that kind of didn't work out, and you kind of feel rejected until people who see you for you and no one else begin to take interest in you. And I had many people in my early Christian walk. I was still kind of a bit lost. I was a motherless kid really in that respect. I wasn't a rebel, but I was a bit lost. And genuine people saw that. And genuine people realized why I was the way I was. And it takes me then to have courage to trust people and to walk with them. And I think here in Ireland, there are, especially for young guys, there is a I'm all right, Jack, don't, I'm fine, leave me alone. But actually there's a broken heart inside. And
Yeah.
I know there are some great churches around the country doing great work with people, in the roughest of roughest areas, and they're meeting them right where their hurt is, and they're doing amazing, amazing jobs. And you wouldn't even say it's the church, but the individual who is bringing Christ into the circumstance. I know this. I know that more and more churches need to see that their mission field is their locality and where they're at. And the
Yeah.
mission is beyond, this is going to sound wrong, but it's more than just getting out on a Sunday morning. It has to be more than that. It has to be reaching the community where the community has a need. Um, and individual circumstances around the country, Sean, I couldn't tell you about, other than the fact that Ireland is such a progressive nation now. Even though it's small, there are teens, boys and girls, early 20s, young, not even teenagers, getting left behind because people are not there to
Mm.
mentor them and care for them.
Yeah. That's
And we
yeah.
need to fix it. We need to fix it. We need to make a difference in people's lives. And when Mike said, "Hey, would you be interested in talking to Sean about this?" I'm going, "Oh, yes, I would."
Well, I
Um,
would love to, and I would love for God as my dad to us to start working in Ireland. I mean, honestly, that'd be
yeah,
something we would love to do.
yeah. And how do we move forward with that? And we will promote God as my dad, because the strap line for UCB Ireland is serving the church, reaching the nation. Just 6 words: serving the
Yeah.
church, reaching the nation. So we will serve the church any way we feel that we can. And this is something that can help and serve the church. But also, it can reach those who need reaching in the community. That's reaching the nation. So even if we don't actually do it, but we show people how it can be done and we connect you with others, that's for me a no-brainer. We got to do it. we got to
Yeah.
pull it together. How do we make that happen?
Honestly, I mean, it's just us getting resources to the local churches and promoting it. And that's one of the hardest parts is we have all these resources. It's just letting people know that we exist and letting them know that we have all this stuff available to them. And so,
Right.
if you have like a church conference, I'm not sure what you have in Ireland available, but if you have like a national pastors conference or something where maybe it's a non-denominational thing or it's cross denominational, but we can get God as my dad in there and just say, hey, we got all kinds of free stuff to help you
Hmm.
do something about this issue. And you can start a single mom ministry. We have the curriculum for you to do that. We have God is my dad app for you to mentor kids. We also are working on a life skills program that you can mentor kids about different life skills because it helps instill confidence in them when they don't have a mom or a dad in their life. But we would, first of all, just point them to our app. Um, Point them to our resources. Again, there's free devotionals, free videos, all kinds of
Hmm.
stuff to help them do that. But then, like I said, we travel over the country and speak, and we would come to Ireland and come speak there as well. And so it just depends on how we can do this, but we would love to be part of that because we want to be. Our goal is to spread the gospel, make disciples, and be part of the solution of the issue of fatherlessness. And so, whatever we can do and contribute, again, that's education for churches. That's spreading awareness. One of the things we do as well is we do public school assemblies, and we have a free public school assembly that we go around and speak in public schools. It's a now it's not a Christian public school assembly. It's a more of a biblical principles, but we don't
Hmm.
talk about the Bible. We just share. I share my story. My dad threw me to the cops, and you can hear in a gymnasium of 800 middle school students. You can hear a pin drop when I'm sharing my story
Right.
because kids are hurt these days and they could feel that pain. And so we could come and do public school assemblies. We could come and do speak at pastors conferences. So wherever God leads in this, we would love to be part of that.
Well, we'll do all we can to make sure that people know who you are and where they can contact you, and we'll get all the details about that in just a moment. The more I'm talking with you, Sean, the more I am realizing, whilst this podcast is called Faith in Action, what you're doing really is faith in action. It's turning what God brought you through into action so that can change the lives of others. So thank you for the work that you and your wife are doing, and how you're affecting so many people across the United States and beyond, because it really is something God's called you to do, and it's something that is needed, very much so.
Thank you. We love doing it.
Yeah,
Honestly, I love doing this ministry. I love reaching families like this. They're it's my story, and so
right.
trying to
Yeah,
help other families find hope in God. And I know some people they balk at that. They're like, "Well, how can God be your dad?" Well, the Bible says you've got to
yeah,
be our Abba Father, our Daddy
yeah,
God. And I know that sounds weird, and we kind of sometimes gets made fun of nowadays, but God will be our dad
yeah,
through through Jesus Christ, and through a
yeah.
personal relationship with Jesus Christ. God will be our Father, and so
Yeah.
we love sharing that message.
How can people find out more? Websites and email addresses and things, Sean, how can that happen?
Yeah, just go to godismydad.com. Use godismydad.com. It's a website, though, all kinds of resources. We have a churches tab. We have a fatherless families area there as well. They can go to godismydad.com / continue to sign up for our devotional. They can find us we're on YouTube. We have a God is my dad YouTube channel. If you search for God is my dad on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, we're there. And so just subscribe, stay connected to our ministry. We'd love to give you free devotionals. Go to the YouVersion Bible app, find God is my dad on there as well. Subscribe, share it out. Please help us share the message of this. People love our ministry. It's just getting the word out that we exist is one of the hardest parts. Marketing for the issue of fatherlessness is really challenging because there's not
Yeah.
a lot of, it's hard to pinpoint where those kids are. And so we just want to help them with resources or help the moms, but it's hard to figure out the marketing for that. We've been struggling with that for years. And so if people help share our resources out, that's a big help to us.
We have listeners across the United States as well. They listen to us online and through the UCB Ireland app. And they will, of course, be able to view the Faith and Action YouTube channel, UCB Ireland. Um, how can people book you to go and talk in the United States right now at their churches? Is there a separate way to do that?
Yeah, they just contact our ministry. Go to godismydad.com or info at godismydad.com is the email address. And they
Okay.
just email us and we'll set it up. We'd love to come and speak at whatever event. Like I don't know if you go to the NRB, I did a panel with Fox News.
I was there this year, early this year.
Was
Yeah.
with it was with Lauren Green from Fox News a couple years ago.
Right.
I was on their Fox News panel on fatherhood,
Right.
and so we go wherever we can go and speak on issues and either educate about fatherlessness or we go and spread hope to fatherless families. It depends on the setting. Like we flew out to Montana just last month, and we're speaking in Montana at a single mom's breakfast, and I spoke at the church. And so it just depends on what the church wants, whatever the event is. But we go and either spread hope or awareness about the issue.
Sean, before we go, how can we pray for you?
I just pray that God will open up the floodgates of um, promotion. We have all
Right.
kinds of resources we're trying to get out there, and
Okay.
we want people to know they exist. And just pray that that'll happen, and also just pray that God will provide for our ministry. We're obviously a nonprofit, so we definitely need support, and
Yeah.
just pray for that as well. And so those two things, promotion and support, are big things for us. And as we navigate creating new resources, we're working on more single mom curriculum. We're working on the God is my dad book. We're working on even making our website better, our app better, new videos. We have all kinds of content we haven't even put out yet. So just pray as we get those resources into the people's hands that it'll help them understand that there is hope through Jesus Christ and that they can have a successful life
Sean, it's been
through
great to
following
talk
God.
to you for this short amount of time, and I do appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And thank you for being obedient to set up something like this. And we look forward to continuing the conversation and continually hearing reports from you about what's happening and somehow being able to connect God as my dad with the people here in Ireland through UCB Ireland and however we can support you in that. It's been great to talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on, and we look forward to maybe being on again or
Yeah,
working with you guys in Ireland. We'd love to see what we can do there.
looking forward to it. Sean, thank you very much. God bless you. Thank you.
God bless you.